Namaste JVs. I, JVN Preeti Singh, Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science, JVWU Diffusion. Today I will discuss about the topic diffusion parameters. Diffusion parameters is very important topic for the consolidated parameters. So firstly we will discuss about the diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of drug molecule. Diffusion is the movement of drug molecules into and within the biological environment. It involves several processes of drug transport across the cell membrane. So generally the drug are administered away from their site of action to reach their site of action, and they are permeate from one compartment to another by crossing the different barriers. So the drug have to cross the cell membrane is called as the diffusivity. So in diffusion parameters, the cell membrane very important role play. Firstly, to discuss about the cell membrane. So fluid bilayer of phospholipids, scattered membrane protein molecules embedded in bilayer serve as receptors, selective target for drug action, and ion channels and transporters. So lipid molecules are capable of lateral movement, and it is flexible and has high electrical resistance, relatively impermeable to highly polar molecules and highly permeable to lipid soluble drug molecules. So the main mechanism of drug permeation diffusion theory. First one is passive diffusion, liquid diffusion, and aqueous diffusion, and carrier mediated transport diffusion and active transport facilitated diffusion. So the lipid diffusion is the most important mechanism for the transport of majority of drug in the body. It is the passive movement of lipid soluble molecule through membranes or their lipid structures. So aqueous diffusion, intracellular paracellular diffusion, filtration, and passive diffusion through the aqueous pores along a concentration gradient and small water soluble drug molecule in solution form molecular weight up to 20,000 to 30,000. If the drug is charged, its flux is also influenced by electrical fields. Example, the membrane and potential transcriminal potential. So the facilitated diffusion, a mechanism to enhance diffusion of drugs with low lipid solubility and along a concentration gradient and carrier increased lipid solubility of drug, rate of diffusion and no energy dependent saturable concretive inhibition. So glucose entry into the cell by glucose transporters. So the mechanism of drug diffusion, drug administration, and solid to solid and drug absorption membrane and drug distribution, protein binding and drug elimination is called as excretion. So this is the mechanism of drugs transport to passive diffusion. Passive diffusion is electrolyte. Electrolyte tend to ionize in physicochemical solution. So the filtration is also the mechanism of drug transport. The mechanism of drug transport by the ion pair transport. Ion pair transport is very important transport for the highly ionized with carrier and passive diffusion. So the site of diffusion through GI tract. First one is mouth, and a small amount of surface area with good flow, best for coating drugs, and transfer by passive diffusion, good for lipid soluble drugs. So can bypass first pass effect. So the site of diffusion through the GI tract by the stomach, and site of diffusion through the GI tract by small intestine, site of diffusion through the GI tract, large intestine, and parameters that affect diffusion. So firstly we discuss about the diffusion of drugs, drug solubilization, formulation factors, and concentration of drug at the diffusion site and blood flow at the diffusion site, surface area of diffusion, route of administration, gastric inputting, food, intestinal motility, and the factors that modify diffusion in the GI tract. So the factors that modify diffusion in the GI tract. So this is the complete session of the diffusion, and this session is powered by the digital version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it your problem by the problem is solved. Thank you, and thank you for the listening.